Anderson. I am the CEO of Eagle 3D Streaming, and today, for the next hour, we'll be exploring pixel streaming for enterprise. The objective for today's event is just to understand a little bit more about how enterprise companies are using pixel streaming in their technology stacks. And we will be recording today's event and posting on LinkedIn afterwards, so feel free to like and share and comment on the event afterwards. So the first thing that we will do on the agenda is company introductions, and we'll call on each company. We'll go through one by one, and feel free to share a little bit on how you are using pixel streaming or considering using the technology. If you have a slide or two prepared, that's perfect. Please feel free to share. But out of respect of everyone, please keep your presentations to 5 minutes or less, just to make sure we stay within the hour. Of course, if you just like to say hello and share a few words and not present, that's also okay. Then after introductions, we have 2 keynote presentations prepared. The first is by Pierre of Daregraphic, and the second is by Vasyl Pepelyankov of eClerks Digital. Then after the presentations, we will have a Q&A moderated by Valerie Schmidt, and we have Epic Games here. So please feel free to ask questions towards them about the technology or to our keynote presenters. So let's go ahead and get started with our introductions. And I'll call on each company organized alphabetically. And then if a representative from that company would like to say hello, introduce how you're using the technology, and please feel free to screen share if you'd like to share a little about the project. So first we have Arab.
Hello, I don't know if Neil's in the call or not, but we've worked with you already, Quintin. We did a small interactive community theatre company event. It was designed in Epic Games Unreal Engine. We had community actors acting into live link and capturing their performances. And we had lots of interactive objects and things. It was a bit of a large file. It wouldn't have run on a normal computer, and we wanted the community to be able to experience it. So we had your pixel streaming host us. We had a bit of a rocky start in terms of an update to a browser, but after we managed to get going, we did manage to funnel quite a lot of people through this, and we've had a lot of interest from different community theatres around the country, and it's really helped us to sort of foster our relationship with that theatre organisation and that local community who are quite a deprived area of Leeds. So yeah, I think it was a really positive thing for us, and it meant that people could access this gaming technology who just were signing in on ordinary machines. So that was the win for us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Arab. Next, we have Bank of America.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kalyan Balachandar. I manage the Unreal platform. I have a couple of my team members also listening into the call, Drew and James. So they pretty much started the exploration of Unreal and Epic within the bank. So we are exploring opportunities to use Unreal within the financial side, and how we can enhance our 2-dimensional reporting into 3-dimensional using various PCA and molecular games. So that's what we've been working on. We are still at an infant stage. We've been working on it for the last 2-3 years, but there are a lot of opportunities that we see that this could potentially solve some of the financial reporting perspective to our senior management. So that's what we've been doing so far. So glad to be here. It looks like it's a huge forum, and hoping to learn a lot from this. Thanks, Quintin.
Thank you, Bank of America. Next, we have Epic Games.
Well, hello. I'm leading the crew today. My name is Mark. I'm the general manager of the Unreal Engine business. We're here to listen. We're here to answer questions. We're delighted to be here and to work with you, Quintin and the Ingle team. So again, looking forward to all the use cases. My colleagues here are Ken Pimentel. Ken, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey, I know at least 50% of you because I sent you to Quintin in the first place, but I'm the AEC industry manager, big advocate around pixel streaming. I love what Eagle 3D is doing, and I hope you all are in good hands with the team.
And we have Maurizio with us as well.
Hello, everybody. I'm Maurizio. I work as part of the Unreal Cloud Services, and pixel streaming is one of the technologies we've been building. So here to help.
If you don't like the way it works, you talk to Maurizio. That's the
exactly, yeah. Only the good things, though.
Thank you, Quintin. Back to you.
Yes, thank you, Epic Games. Next, we have Jacobs.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Keith. I'm part of the Jacobs Visual Media team. We've been working with Ken and the guys at Epic to leverage and uplift our traditional visual media capabilities onto pixel streaming and cloud platforms and things. So expanding out from end-to-end traditional animations into interactive real-time presentations, all hosted in the cloud for a range of our clients and sectors within Jacobs.
Thank you, Jacobs. Next, we have Lockheed Martin.
Hello, my name is Aaron Kozrak. I work in the trade show division at Lockheed Martin. We used pixel streaming to incorporate interactives when our trade shows went virtual at the beginning of the pandemic. And it's been a huge, wonderful tool that we will hopefully continue to implement.
Thank you, Lockheed Martin. Next, we have Macchiavision. And we may not have a representative from Macchiavision, and so we will just move on. And if they come in, we will give them the opportunity to say hello. So we will move on next to Netflix. And then we will move on to Nextier. And I do see that we have a representative from Nextier. Your microphone is on mute. Are you able to say hello?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So like I said, hi, my name is Jonathan Labby. I'm representing Nextier Oilfield Solutions. We're an oil and gas company. We're looking at, we've been using pixel streaming. We have an investors conference that's going to be coming up next year. And we thought pixel streaming would be a really cool way of allowing our investors and current customers to learn about the different services that we offer, both in the within the headquarters as well as out in the field. So we've been working with Quintin and his team, and we're here just as a scouting to learn about all the new creative ways that people are using the technology as well. So, but yeah, I'm excited to learn about how everybody else is using this. So thank you.
Thank you. Next we have NVIDIA.
Super. So I'm Greg Jones. I'm with the VR AR group in NVIDIA, and we've been offering for the last couple of years a VR XR streaming protocol or SDK. And so I'm here listening and answering questions on that. Thank you.
Thank you, NVIDIA. Next we have Tesla. And next we have WSP.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm Ludwig. I'm head of software development for the digital and information management team at WSP in Stockholm, Sweden. And we are building a Unreal and pixel streaming based solution here, where we're basically moving our large scale infrastructure project like coordination and visualization models up to the cloud. So we're using real-time datasmith import, real-time data connections to orthophotography and height data from different data sets, and we're pulling it all together. And we're hosting everything in a cloud backend and giving access to our clients to a pixel streaming link. I've been doing this for a long time, and back in the day, we used to package everything in a model or a project, like a standalone application that we would send over to the client. But there's always the issue of, you know, sending the large files, and client is needing like computers with good enough graphic cards to run the stuff. So we're in the process of moving everything to the cloud. Yeah.
Thank you, WSP. And I just received a note from Yahoo that he was pulled into an urgent meeting, so we will move on to Zaha Hadid.
Hey guys, I'm Cesar from Zaha Hadid. I'm an architect from the computational design group, currently involved in developing a platform approach that we're building upon Epic Unreal engines. And it's been quite nice that we have been kind of involved different clients on the, let's say, like, we're in the notion of user participation in design, developing a configurator so people can configure their homes. So we're doing it in a prototype in a project on Ratan in Honduras. So we already did a pre-sales event where the different customers were able to pixel stream their applications, and then they were customizing their homes, choosing the different layouts, and presenting. So we will also be presenting in the Unreal Build event, which will be due on November for more, with more specificity. Also with pixel streaming, we have been involved in a series of workshops controlling robots in real time. So we presented the students with a platform, especially now working remotely in virtual conference, because all of these workshops we did it physically. So now doing them virtually, we prepare this app that we pixel stream, and then they can kind of cut their components or can control the robots and cut their components at real time. And send in the commands to a database. So that's also something that we have been exploring in pixel stream, and the team at Eagle 3D helped us a lot with the configurator earlier this year. And yeah, super excited to see what others are using it. And thanks for the invitation, Quintin and Valerie.
Quintin, you're on mute.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Zaha Hadid, and for everyone for sharing a little bit about how you are using pixel streaming. We'll move on to our first presentation, which is presented by Pierre Couture. He is the CEO and innovative thinker at Daregraphic, and he will be sharing about remote network monitoring for pixel streaming. Pierre, it's all yours.
Can you hear me, Quintin?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. You guys are going to see that in a second. So really appreciated the invitation. And what I want to talk about is the network monitoring when we do a pixel streaming session. Basically, we are looking at it first and foremost from the end user perspective. So the user expects a stable and predictable experience. Basically, when they connect, they want to make sure that connect fast and it's flawless and it doesn't stop, it doesn't stutter. So there's a great deal of balance between what we call interactivity and fidelity. And we are a big promoter of pushing the quality to the streaming users. So this have to be took into consideration in any design. The image compression, it have to be compressed so it gets the user in their facility or in their device, but it have to be completely lossless and not visible. Our take on pixel streaming, it have to run at minimum 40 frames per second. We're pushing for more, but we think 40 frames per second is the refresh rate minimum for a good experience. and the latency have to be minimized. So mouse click and touch screen have to be minimized. So all of that is what we consider to be the minimum user experience for any real-time 3D streaming, and of course pixel streaming being at the core of this. Over all of our testing and project, we realized that the internet in general have not been designed for a constant, real-time, sustainable, predictable environment, especially when we're doing real-time interactivity, which is mainly defined because of the UDP protocol. And on top of that, we think getting end user data analytics at the core of the streaming component is also very important. Therefore, we decide to invest into a network monitoring service. I'm not going to go into technical detail. I'd be more than happy to go over that when you guys are, if you guys are interested. But we're talking about the elements that make a network to work. Many people are very familiar with latency and bandwidth, but there's many things that happen in the network. Sometimes the packet is sent that is getting received and reversed, and other aspect of it. So that's really important to be monitored and measured. So the basic concept of pixel streaming in a real-time 3D environment, it goes from this basic concept of the sender all the way to the receiver, but there's many aspects that happen in the middle. Webrtc is also something that people are familiar with, but we divide that in 3 zones. So the first zone is the pixel streaming server. The middle zone is the internet, which is kind of a gray zone, and the end user. So usually people will understand and know what happened at both ends, but the middle is also an unknown concept. So therefore, monitoring the network becomes really important to understand what's happening. So one aspect of network monitoring involve what we call a chord concept, where every single element on that network has been monitored, and we're using a color code. So in this case, green mean good, yellow means some problems, and red is literally disconnected. So you can imagine that we can do this at the internet service provider level. So for example, if there's a broken network in a region, we know where this happened. So if there's a customer complains about, well, I did streaming yesterday and it had the problem, we know if that problems occur in the middle and who was the culprit and at what time this happened, so we can resolve and do better troubleshooting further down the road. Again, without going too much into the details, we can measure what happened on the pixel streaming server itself, and we can go in granular detail over time. Those measurements are kept for 36 months, so we can go back and measure after the fact. So if we do a very large, big launch event, we can measure it in real time at a 30-second cycle, and then we can go back and see and reanalyze that over time to fix some problem that may occur. There's another concept that's called the logical route. So when we do a pixel streaming, it could be a one-to-one or a one-to-many. So from the server standpoint or the sender, we can analyze the network. And as you can see here, another component that we don't control when the pixel happen to be in the internet public network is the routing. And some of those routing are split. And those little dots are what we call the hops. So every time a device, could be a switch, a server, look at the packets, analyze the packet, and say, okay, I'm going to pass it to the next guy. There's one of those dots. And those dots, again, green mean good. And as you can see, sometimes we see a route is completely straight line. Sometimes it's going to a different splitting aspect. So all of that can be measured. So those analysis has been done through a software virtual agent. So those agents can be deployed very easily anywhere that have a public or a private data center. It can be installed in your own on-prem facility, and we can go all the way to the user. If we have access to the user at some point, we can do that, especially when we do a proof of concept or preliminary testing before a launch event. We can go in very, very small regional, local area all the way to global. So we can do the micro analysis and we can do the macro analysis. It really depends what the requirement is. This system is doing what we call synthetic analysis. So we don't measure the actual packets of pixel streaming or any other data. The system is using its own little system which run in parallel with pixel streaming. So what that means is the agent will send a packet, it will send over the network, it will get a reflect. So it's called a reflector. It's going to come back and then it's going to do the analysis based on the sum of the screen that I just showed you. So it's fully secure because we don't analyze what's happening with the pixel streaming itself. We analyze the pipes. We don't measure the actual data of pixel streaming. So it's very, very secure. It's fully adaptive because we don't need to spend lots of hardware deployment. So we can run an agent, close an agent within few minutes. It's going to run, and then we can close it when we don't need it. And again, it takes 2 minutes to deploy it, so it's very, very, very fast. So network best practice when we deployed any real-time and pixel streaming project. That's really important. People are talking about streaming, but they always forget where's the sender, where's the receiver. That's really important. That's why we deployed in lots of regions. So if the hosting is done in North America and the receiver is done in other territories like other continents, it's really important that we measure this so then we can adjust the flow and we can adjust the hosting of the servers. Sometimes people will forget that the sender where the server are, the network architecture have to be flawless. So the server have to send the packet very flawlessly with good quality of hardware. Sometimes this is an oversight and it's typically, garbage in, garbage out kind of concept. And we cannot stress enough that a test and a proof of concept have to be done prior to launch to make absolutely sure that when people will connect, the network have been tested, it have been troubleshooted, and there's no bottleneck throughout the process. So the user will have a great experience. So I want to make it quick and easy for this presentation. So feel free to contact us. We have a website where we define this in more detail. We just launched yesterday a document that we talk about optimization of pixel streaming. It's on our website, daregraphic.com, and we talk about network monitoring there as well. Thank you very much. That's all for me.
Thank you, Pierre, for the presentation. And before we move into our second presentation, we did have a representative of Macchiavision arrive. So if you would like to say hello and introduce yourselves and share a little bit about how you're using pixel streaming or considering using it, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, we will continue to our second presentation.
Hi, the question was in my direction, I guess.
Yes, if you'd like to say hello, introduce yourself, and possibly share a little bit about how you are using or considering using pixel streaming.
Yeah, sorry for being late. My name is Timo Fürch. I'm CTO of Macchiavision. We are part of Accenture. And currently, we provide pixel streaming to some of our clients in the automotive space, and automotive retailers use pixel streaming to configure together with the clients or with the customers in the dealership, in the showrooms, to configure a car and show how the dream car of this customer looks like. And we provide this for example, for BMW, but also for Ferrari and Porsche. And the second use case is obviously due to COVID that the customer doesn't come to the dealership anymore, but they do a combined session where the dealer and the customers are in different places, but they share one view on the stream. which is controlled by the dealer, but they see obviously the same screen. And we also offer it for events, but that's not that often. So the main use case is selling cars to customers for automotive dealerships. And just as one example, the potential, for example, in this case of BMW, they have more than 7,000 installations worldwide, still on-prem. And obviously there is a tendency to move to pixel streaming for several reasons. You might cover in this session anyways, what is the advantages of streaming versus on-prem, but that's what we are doing.
Thank you, Macchiavision.
Any questions that you guys have for, or you all have for Pierre? Feel free to just ask away. We're having trouble hearing you.
Sorry, is it better?
Yes, thank you.
I had a question on the first presentation in terms of pixel streaming monitoring. I just want to see if so can we still go ahead, or the questions are only for the second one and the presenter for the first one?
This is for the first presentation.
This is for the first presentation. Sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the monitoring tool, is it something that can be installed on-prem, like within the bank network, or is it something that has to be sitting on cloud premises?
Yep. We usually can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, good. We usually suggest that we do a little bit of all, which is a little bit on your prem, especially if you have data, if you want to do some testing or you have some files. So, and it can be installed on pretty much any type of device. So we can install it on switches, firewall, routers, servers, virtual machine, Linux, Macs, Windows, PC, whatever. So it's really, we look at your infrastructure and we say, you want to measure what and where, and then we suggest where to put those agents. And when it's installed on a device, a network device, it's use SNMP protocol.
Okay.
Any other questions for Pierre, guys? And of course, if something comes up, you can always just email us and we'll get you in touch with the right person, whether it be somebody within the group here or one of the presenters, or certainly Epic. But let's go to questions for Vas.
I had a question. Here's Cesar. Let me turn on the camera. Are you connected, Vas, with a database directly with Ducati, for example? So if they do updates, like the configurator in that case, like automatically uploads, or you have to synchronize. So every time they make a change, you have to synchronize it, based on those changes.
So we have a direct connection with them through their servers. So our PIM and asset approval tool is directly connected to the Ducati servers. So so it does not happen like in real time, meaning I don't really see when something's being uploaded or changed, but I do receive immediate notifications once there is a new version of the same file or a completely new file, or something's being changed throughout the chain of files that is being received for a project. So I would say we're directly connected, but it's not happening in absolute real time. It's not like we have a synergy of the two systems.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, is because it's a little bit, sometimes it's hard also to match, they have maybe some workflows. And also, for example, I was wondering if their design team, they give you the assets and then you have to optimize it and prepare them for Unreal every time they do like a change. So you need to clean them and bring them in yourself, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, we do. Although it's not a manual, we have a lot of in-house tools and off-the-shelf tools that we use that optimize the CAD data. And we have levels of optimizations, whether it's going to be optimizing it for lifestyle imagery, where you need all the details kept, and we're not that concerned with the heaviness of the files. Then we have the next level, which is for the real-time engine going in Unreal. And then we also have another optimization level, which is for AR models, where it crunches them really badly.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for either presenter? Okay. Since we have Epic with us today, we're very fortunate to have that team with us. If you have any questions regarding your projects or just in general, please open it up to Epic. One of the team members will be happy to give you some information or maybe talk about the roadmap going forward for Epic.
Absolutely. Go away. Fire away.
Yeah, I might have also another question on that end. Regarding, because I know like the Unreal Engine 5 right now, the pixel streaming, I think it's using the version that was in 426. So there's a new, let's say, the release version of the pixel streaming with 427. Just wondering if that pixel streaming is going to be released with a full release of Unreal Engine 5, or can we have it a little bit earlier? That would be fantastic.
I'll take this one. The team is actually working on Unreal Engine 5 as we speak. So it's the latter. Will you get it pretty soon?
Pretty soon. Nice. Right.
As soon as it's done, basically, yeah. Like just like 427, we'll give you early access as soon as we can.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, we get a lot of questions about 426, 427, 4.26, 4.27, and being able to have projects that work going backwards if necessary. So you might speak a little bit to that, how the two systems are going to be compatible or not for projects.
Yeah. You can't take Unreal Engine projects backwards into prior releases. That's core to the system. So unfortunately, you're not likely to see that. Unreal Engine 5 early access was built off of 426. So you can't go from like 427 to Unreal Engine 5 right now.
Right.
You're gonna have to wait until we have the preview, which the preview is Q1 timeframe to get hands-on with the 5.0.
Got it. Any other questions for Epic, you guys?
I have a question, if I'm allowed to ask questions. Just to sort of understand the roadmap between Windows and Linux, do you guys foresee the pixel streaming ecosystem primarily being Linux in the future with containers, or do you think it may be dependent on the organization and what's best for them? How do you see the pixel streaming ecosystem from an operating system and container standpoint long term?
All right, so that's a good question. So the short answer, being a cloud solution, it would make sense to run on Linux. But the reality is, Unreal Engine, especially from a rendering perspective, is not like at feature parity with Windows. So it really depends on the specific application. If you need ray tracing, your only option at the moment is Windows. We're definitely investing both cloud service team and the Unreal Engine team in like providing full support for ray tracing on Linux. Once we're at that point, once we reach feature parity, I would encourage people to consider, companies to consider Linux, especially now we have containers. So the vision is we want Unreal Engine to be basically a building block within a larger cloud-first architecture, and we know that Linux is definitely like a key component for that. But it ultimately, it really depends on the specific application, your needs, and your like knowledge level. Because again, like depending on the industry, like some people, some like engineers might be more familiar with Windows rather than Linux. So it really depends on many parameters there.
And the reality is that the Vulkan drivers are not at the level of DirectX. even without the ray tracing argument. So it's a question of the maturity ecosystem it creates for us. Investing in Linux for subpar performance. We're not. I think that we don't see enough momentum, but I think the cloud companies can play a big role and are playing a big role in rising the importance of the quality of token drivers. So I think I think we'll see more Linux over time, hopefully. But right now, it's a little bit of a. I mean, we use Linux for some of our own servers, and it's not fully satisfying experience.
Excuse me, Val, I had a follow-up question. And so what are the benefits of putting the Unreal Engine in a container and pixel streaming yet? How would this potentially help a enterprise-based company?
I would say consistency is a deployment, basically. Like we know that technology like Kubernetes and containers are a key component in a cloud architecture. So by almost embracing this standard, will make deployment and scaling pixel streaming much easier. And again, more consistent, because you don't need to install dependencies or anything like that. You have this bundle, which is the container that you can deploy anywhere. And at that point, you can choose whether you want to do it on premises or on a specific cloud environment or both. So it gives you more flexibility from that perspective too.
Thank you.
The engine is by nature very monolithic, but what you see is also, through this containerization is an effort to modularize it so that people can build more sophisticated services. Somebody mentioned Datasmith is a good candidate to be turned to in service. We have some of our processing, for certain things like photogrammetry that could be available as a service as well. So I think it's a fundamental trend for us to bring that flexibility into something that historically a game engine is a pretty, monolithic piece of code optimized for some class of hardware. So we're going through that transformation because we believe that the future of all of that is largely in the cloud. And so we want to get ahead of that modularity. And our approach is not to lock people into our own services. Our approach is to build a brick so that people like you, Quintin, can build those services. And so we have an ecosystem of services available around the engine. And so it's easy to purchase, Unreal Engine ready stuff from cloud companies like an AMI, ready for Unreal Engine and all those things. So it's all about modularity and scalability and flexibility. So because we see so much more cloud in our future.
Talking about containers, we're releasing a white paper. I think it's next week or the week after. So you will get more details about use cases, and pixel streaming is one of them.
Are there any tips or tricks, like the top 2 pieces of advice for enterprise companies getting everything released and optimized? Is there anything that you can think of that, like, you better think of this or you're going to run into this?
I would say specifically around cloud and pixel streaming, I would suggest start testing on the real hardware as soon as you can. Don't wait until you have your final application. Otherwise, you might find a big surprise. That's one of the challenges we're facing at the moment, including Epic internally. GPUs in the cloud are not as mature, as performant as consumer hardware. So you don't want to spend months developing your application. Then you push to the cloud, and then your frame rate is super low, and then invest a lot of time optimizing. Just iterate quickly and try to get some real data out of the real hardware as soon as you can. That would be my main recommendation. And of course, there is plenty of documentation on the UDN on how to approach optimization in Unreal Engine. At that point, it's purely like an optimization exercise and optimizing your material, your scene, and so on and so forth.
Thanks. Anything from Mark or Ken on that?
Yeah, I would say that you have to think broadly about what user experience you want to provide on the web. And I think pixel streaming is one thing, but we're going to get the Sketchfab web player I mean, I don't know if you saw what we did to it, from a pricing perspective. And I think it's, the winning some of the winning applications we see are hybrid of leveraging pixel streaming for certain things and leveraging, Sketchfab downloads for some other things. And I think that's also, when we have this flexibility, I think it can avoid to try to solve with pixel streaming some problems that are very well solved, with the web technology. So by adding a QR code and then suddenly you can hand over to a mobile phone to do AR, those things. I mean, these are the best in class capabilities, and I think it will serve us, on the pixel streaming side if we can provide a complete solution, to the customers and think about those integration about server side and client side and the kind of handover that you can do. I would say we're starting to see some very, very interesting ideas about those handovers and thinking about a complete experience using both.
Okay.
And not opposing them, having them work together. Do not oppose them, not make it a binary choice. I'm going to go server, I'm going to go client. I think about, providing experience that actually straddle the two things.
That's good advice.
I think there's a clear dividing line between things like sales configurator for $100,000, $1 million apartments that can easily afford pixel streaming because the CCU is pretty low and they're high value, and selling a toaster. So I think there's a dividing line somewhere in all that mix about where you need to use one versus the other, even if your goals is high fidelity. And I think that it's a constantly shifting thing based on the costs of the technology and availability of it.
Are there any other questions for anybody? Either co-attendees, presenters, or Epic, or Quintin? Oh, go ahead, Jenny.
So I'm not a developer or a coder. I'm just an engineer. But we were trying to get the pixel streaming to work on mobile phones, and we didn't have loads and loads of time to spend on it, and we just hadn't managed to make it work. And I was just wondering if anybody has managed to do that, and if they've got any tips on how to achieve it.
So that's a paradigm thing. You're just the user interface. Is that what you're struggling with?
Yeah, so we managed to get it to detect. This is like just a niggle, but we managed to get it to detect the device, and it could detect the touches of your touch screen, but we couldn't get it to put some controls on the screen. So all you could do was just turn around. You couldn't navigate. And I was just wondering if you got any tips of how to approach that and how to make that work.
I think for mobile devices, for that different user experience, my recommendation would be to do to basically run the UI on the mobile device and use the data channel to send the information back to the server, rather than doing UI server side and change the layout on the server, because compression wouldn't be good. See what I mean? Like you basically do like almost kind of an overlay on top of pixel streaming and like render the UI there.
Okay, so you put that onto the device, onto the actual browser?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Basically kind of an HTML overlay, and then use an existing data channel in RTCP and pixel streaming to communicate back with the server and then inject the inputs.
Jenny, we have examples of that. I'm sorry, you're at which company?
I'm at Arab.
Yeah, you're at Arab. So just Simon Blakeney will get you sorted. We have a sample project we can hand you that does exactly that. It has a UI that talks to the Unreal application.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thanks, Jenny. Any other questions for anyone else? If you do have questions that come up, please email me, Valerie@eagle3dstreaming.com, and I'll put you in touch with whomever you need to get in touch with. This has been recorded. If there's anything that you need edited or removed before we post it on LinkedIn, please let us know. and we will certainly accommodate your wishes as far as whatever. I don't think there was any super proprietary information shared, but if there's something you want omitted from the public recording, please let us know. You guys were awesome. Thank you to our presenters. Thank you to Epic. Thank you to everybody who attended. And we look forward to keep moving, keep growing, and working with you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks for having
Thanks,
us.
everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.